a matchup between two elite teams on your pyramid. I believe the Rams were tier 1 and the Seahawks were tier 2.
In this week's pyramid and the last week's pyramid, it was Seattle tier 1 and
That's right.
the Rams tier 2.
Did I just spoil
Yeah, you just spoiled it. It's fine.
I got it mixed up.
mean, I made the spoiler by following through on it.
I get as the guy who puts in the graphics, I get it mixed up from week to week. But a big game. Yes, Samuel Darnold. Was this his stinker game?
Yes, he was. He played his worst game of the season without a doubt. The interceptions he threw are inexplicable. They're terrible. There's no defending it. His footwork was terrible. He got happy feet. He forced so many throws. He forces throws to young guys, like the pick he throws to the second pick for Kitchens, the Rams DB. He's trying to throw an inside dig route or post route to Elijah Arroyo. And Arroyo, according to at least Greg Olson, is saying that Elijah is supposed to cut really hard to the inside. Well, he's a rookie. He's a second-round pick rookie. He's not going to be perfect. And so Darnold is expecting him to make a move like a 7-year veteran tight end would make, and it's a rookie instead. And so he doesn't make the move, and he throws a pick directly to the defensive back. That's one of his picks. His first pick is terrible. He's on his heels. He's on his back foot. Doesn't get enough on the ball, and a DB in the center reads it perfectly, picks him off. Darnold was terrible with his interceptions. But outside of that, he was 29 for 40. Outside of the interceptions, he was 29 for 40 for 279 yards. Didn't get in the end zone because the Rams were stymieing them the entire game. Once they got inside the 40-yard line, Seattle was forced to settle for 4 field goals in this game before finally scoring a touchdown at the end. Darnold was really, really good outside of the 4 picks. Seattle was amazing defensively, and Darnold plays his worst game of the season, and they have a game-winning field goal attempt, albeit a 61-yarder, to beat quite possibly the best team in football, or one of them in the Los Angeles Rams. I thought this was just a classic showdown between the two teams. I think both teams can very, very easily swing this of, we didn't play our best football for the Rams. We didn't play our best football, and they said that directly. Davante Adams said in the post-game press conference that we felt like we played like ass. Direct quote. So I'm allowed to say it. I apologize for cursing. They played terrible, essentially, is what he's saying. And yet they still won. And that's how he put it. Seattle, like I just said, Darnold plays his worst game of the season, and yet they still had a game-winning field goal attempt. So both teams, I think, are going to take this game and swing it in a really positive, hopium manner going forward. For me, I would not panic on Sam Darnold in Seattle because, like I said, if you go watch the game, if you somehow watch the game and you didn't get the context of the 4 picks, like if you watched the full replay and the 4 picks were just taken out of the replay, you wouldn't think he played bad, really, for the entire game. In fact, I thought he played really, really well against one of the best front sevens in football. He was challenging the DBs a ton. Jackson Smith-Njigba has another incredible game, 105 yards through the air on 12 targets. A.J. Barner was really good, 10 for 70. But I have to give, for me, the biggest credit of this game goes to the Los Angeles Rams DBs. That was one thing Jack and I highlighted in the preview was going to be a really cause for concern for the Rams because their DBs have been really, really bad, not only this year but throughout their careers, and that includes state legend Emmanuel Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes was incredible in this game. He stops a touchdown to Rashid Shaheed. He doesn't have another pick, but Cameron Kitchens ends up with 2 picks in this game, and Kobe Durant ends up having a pick in this game as well. They were the 3 DBs, Kitchens the safety.
Kobe Durant or Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Durant.
Okay.
Is his name. 14, Kobe Durant has a pick in this game. Forbes stops a touchdown with a pass deflection. I give all the credit to the Rams DBs for the way that they played in this game. Cam Curl as well. The safety ends up leading the team in tackles. They played really, really well against one of the best offenses so far this season. Seattle, all that being said, though, was able to get what they wanted offensively. It's another one of those box scores, which I feel like we've seen so much of this year, where Seattle had 26 first downs, the Rams 12. They were better on third down. They converted 7 to the Rams 2. They had a better percentage on fourth down, 1 out of 1 versus 2 out of 3. More total yards, 414 to 249. Dominate the time of possession, 38 minutes to 22 minutes. They essentially tie on penalties. But the biggest difference was in the red zone, the Rams were 3 for 4 scoring touchdowns. Seattle was 1 for 4. That changed the game entirely. If the Rams don't, or if the Seattle Seahawks don't settle for field goals, they win a game convincingly on the road with Sam Darnold throwing 4 picks. And so I wouldn't panic on Seattle. You're going to say that's hypocrisy later on when you see the pyramid. I'll explain that, though, when we get there. But I have full confidence in Seattle going forward. And I'm glad that Darnold got to get one of these games out of his system. And you hope that this, of course, doesn't continue to occur. But Seattle is chilling. And they've got a really easy schedule going forward at Tennessee this coming weekend, hosting the Vikings, who their season is done. Like I said, they go to the Atlanta Falcons on December 7th. And then they will get to rematch against the Rams and a rematch against the Niners, and they can hopefully get wins in both those games because they lost those 2 games. That's the only concern at this point, is they may not be able to compete for the division because they've lost to the Rams and Niners already.
Yeah.
If they can, even up those 2, they are very in line for the division. But I wouldn't panic on Seattle. I give a ton of credit to the Rams DBs. And I really think this is a game that both teams are going to try to spin in a really positive manner, in a really copium manner. All that being said, incredible game, incredible watch. Joe Davis was still biased to the Los Angeles Dodgers in this game somehow. And I didn't misspeak there. I didn't mean Los Angeles Rams. No, he was still biased to Los Angeles Dodgers in this game.
That's kind of impressive that he could portray that in a football game.
It's just exactly how it sounded. He's getting on my nerves. He, as a play-by-play announcer, like Joe Tessitore, gets on my nerves in a similar manner, but it's because Joe Tessitore will call a Week 3 game between. I don't think they called this game this year, but if they did, a Week 3 game between Alabama and Wisconsin this year, like it is the national championship.
He cares.
When it's a Week 3 game between Alabama and Wisconsin. I love it when he gets to the postseason, and when it was Week 1, when it's Florida State and Alabama, and both this game means so much for these 2 programs. That makes sense.
Turns out it did not mean a lot for Florida State.
It turns out it didn't, but at the time it did.
Yeah. And
he was the perfect guy to be on the call of that game.
Yeah.
Joe Davis doesn't have that, and so I think he's even worse because when we get to the big games, he really annoys me, sadly, and he was biased to the Dodgers in this one, just like he was in the World Series. But those are kind of my takeaways from the Seahawks-Rams game. Terrible uniform matchup. What are we doing? Why are the Rams copying the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah. The black. They wore the black?
They wore the black. Now, the Chargers don't have the black. They have the navy, the ones that they wore.
Yeah.
But it just felt like they were trying to copy them because they hadn't introduced this kind of uniform.
The Chargers probably just left their uniforms in the lockers, and the Rams just used them when they got there.
It looked that way. And then Seattle, on the other hand, wears white with their navy helmet and navy shorts, and it was just really, really hard to see the players. And I wish that should be one where it's white and white on the black. All white versus all black will never be a bad uniform matchup. This one was, and that was really hard to watch. It's one of the least satisfying for the eyes games of the weekend, I'd say.
Yeah.
But for Seattle, everything's still in front of them. Don't panic. Los Angeles, spoiler alert, is the best team in football.